So my funniest parenting moment would have to be when Mike, Theo and I went to Southampton. We were just doing a little bit of shopping. Theo was I think about 18 months old. We decided let's go and get a Wagamama's. We love it in there. The food is insane. We ordered Theo one of the kids meals, which I think has like rice and sweet corn. Maybe it had some cod, I can't remember. Theo's eaten sweet corn, like pureed, but at that point I don't think he'd properly eaten it whole. So he'd had a couple of good mouthfuls and suddenly he started to retch. And I was like, Mike, I think he might have something stuck in his throat. And he was retching and then suddenly all of the food just came up and it just kept coming. So we were trying to be as discreet as possible, making absolutely no noise. We had to grab napkins from our left and right without anybody noticing, just to catch each bit of sick as it came out. It was absolutely disgusting, but in hindsight, very funny.
Funniest parenting moments for me tend to include poo and vomit, just because you have to laugh. Otherwise you just cry. I've been in public when my oldest Tilda just projectiled all over me. I had no change of clothes with me. I'd brought loads of changes of the clothes for her. Hadn't thought about bringing myself something else because I didn't know I'd need it. Poo moments. Pooing, when they poo in the bath and you're chasing the poo with a sieve, and if your other half is there and you're both just laughing because it's bloody funny. I mean, poo's funny sometimes, isn't it?
My funniest, most horrendous parenting moment was one night when I was really ill and BB was also really ill, and I was expecting a friend to come over, and just as she rang the doorbell, B was sick all over me, which then made me sick all over the both of us. We were both covered in sick and I had to open the door, and so I was like, I had to take off my clothes. I was half naked, covered in sick. Hi to my friend who doesn't have kids.
My funniest parenting moment has to be when me, Reese and Penny went out on sort of a family trip to do some homeware shopping, and we got to the shop after a 25-minute journey. I went to take Penny out of her car seat and she was soiled, like absolutely saturated in poo. I panicked, like straight up panicked, and I was like, what do I do? Like, how am I going to sort this out? I didn't have a spare set of clothes. I had a nappy and some wipes. How am I going to solve this situation out with that? I went into the shop with an in-arm like this, like, help me, what am I going to do? Show me to the toilets. Everyone looked at me like I was completely crazy. Everyone in the food dining place was like, okay, crazy mum alert. Got to the toilet, I pulled down their clothes and stuff and they were absolutely ruined. I had to chuck them there and then. And then I was thinking, after I changed her and put a fresh nappy on, well, what am I going to put on her now? And anyway, all I had was a muslin cloth, and I simply wrapped her in a muslin cloth, and I sort of had to carry her out, trying to hide the fact that she had no clothes on. And it was just absolutely hilarious. More to the point, why didn't I just change her in the car? So that was my funniest moment. I was so embarrassed, felt mortified because everyone was looking at me like I was the worst mum in the world. But yeah, for me that was probably my funniest parenting moment.
My funniest parenting moment has to be when I took all three boys with some friends of ours and their three children. We went to the Tank Museum. It was the one moment in the whole day where me and the other mum weren't doing childcare while the dads had a chat. So we asked the dads, put the dads in charge, went to get a cup of tea, turned around to a shout of help, help. And Ozzy had got his head stuck in one of those wooden frame thing with two army soldiers in it. There were two holes that the kids put their head through, and somehow, I do not know how, because he was only 2 or 3 at the time, so you'd think he was little, but he obviously wasn't little, because his head got stuck in it, and there was no which way that head was coming out of that hole. The more he pulled to try and get his head out of this cut-out hole, the more he got stuck. And we tried twisting from behind this way, twisting from behind that way. He was not coming out of there. We had just a massive crowd of people all trying to help. We tried tipping him upside down and pulling him out that way. Didn't work. We just tried everything. Cream, Vaseline, you name it. They had the just first aid people there. In the end, they had to go and find a saw and we had to cut him out. It was one of those, hideous for a while and then just stupidly hysterical. I have got a picture of him with his head really red, stuck in the wooden cutout thingy in the Tank Museum. That was a pretty funny moment.
So my number one baby product would have to be the Jumperoo. They are, I think the age is 3 months. They can go in it from 3 months old. And it's kind of like this big bouncer type thing that kind of sits on its own, so it's got struts that hold it up, and it's got loads of different toys on. They can jump around in it, you can change the height level, and Theo was obsessed with his. We got to a point where he was too heavy to go in it, but he absolutely loved it, and if I were to suggest any form of entertainment for a child, it would definitely be the Jumperoo.
My number one baby product would probably be quite simply the giant muslins, because you can use them for so much. I tend to now buy them as gifts for new mums. I did breastfeed, so I used them as a cover-up, I used them to swaddle, I used them to clear up sick, I used them to put over the pram in the summer as a cooling kind of shade. My goodness, I used them for so much. So I think, yes, anything that can be used for more than one reason is a really, really good gift for somebody that's about to have a baby. They make really nice lightweight covers, blankets as well in the summer too. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Aiden and Anae ones, but loads of people have, lots of brands have brought their own versions out now. But yeah, that's my number one product.
My number one baby product would definitely be the Tommy Tippy Prep Machine. I think so many people have been and bought this product and said the same thing as what I'm going to say, but it came in to save our lives. Literally, through the night feeds, it was a matter of seconds. Just a case of, getting up, pressing a button, it filling up, adding the powder, and that was it. We didn't have to wait for the kettle to boil. We didn't have to worry about it not being the right temperature. It all does that for you, and for a new mum, that made life so easy, and I just really appreciated it, really. That would probably be my number one.
So my favourite baby product has got to be Calpol, because there's always something going on. They're either teething or they got a temperature, there's a sick bug going around, and it's just the best lifesaver.
My number one baby product, probably sleeping bags, baby sleeping bags. They are genius, I think, because they can't wriggle down into them, suffocate, get too hot. They can't wriggle up out of them, get too cold. They can't get stuck in them. They're just brilliant. I think they're brilliant. And they keep their arms cool and their heads cool. And yeah, I think they're great.